All I wanted was to fix a leak under my sink. 2 days later, my HOA president was in handcuffs, screaming in the street for harassing the wrong plumber. It started with a leak under the kitchen sink. Not a disaster, but enough to soak the cabinet floor and drip into the basement overnight. I shut the water off, cleaned it up, and called Drew, a plumber I've used for years. Smart, respectful, mid-20s, runs his own small business with his dad's old van. He said he'd swing by the next morning. Drew showed up around 9 a.m., parked neatly on the curb, and started unloading. I was in the kitchen moving dishes when I heard voices outside. Not friendly ones. I stepped out to find Drew standing by the van, hands in his pockets. Across from him was Karen, our HOA president, arms crossed, sunglasses on, standing dead center in the street like she owned it. "Is there a problem?" I asked. Karen didn't even look at me. "This vehicle isn't registered with the HOA. He's not on the list of approved contractors." "There is no list," I said. "That's not a real policy." She ignored me again. "What are you doing here?" she snapped at Drew. "I'm the plumber," he said, calm as ever, "hired by the homeowner." Karen stepped closer. "And do you have ID, insurance, business registration?" "I've got all of it in the van," he said. "You're welcome to ask the homeowner, though." "I don't answer to you." Wrong move. Karen's eyes went wide. "Excuse me, this is my community. I have the right to protect it from people who don't belong here." Drew stayed silent, just stared at her. I told her to back off. "He's licensed and insured. Go back to your porch." She took out her phone and started snapping pictures of his plates. "We've had thefts. I'm not letting this slide." That should have been the end of it, but I saw something change in her face. Like she didn't just feel threatened, she felt challenged. Drew got back to work. I figured she'd go grumble somewhere else. But no, she stayed on the sidewalk, watching, waiting. And from that moment on, it wasn't about plumbing anymore. She'd made up her mind. Drew was a problem she needed to remove. And the next day, she'd take it further than any of us could have imagined. If you love HOA-Karen stories, like and subscribe for more videos like this. Drew came back the next day with the replacement valve. I figured Karen had gotten it out of her system, but some people don't know when to stop. This time, she didn't wait to confront him. As soon as he stepped out of the van, she was already outside, standing in her driveway with her phone in one hand and a clipboard in the other. "You were warned," she snapped. "You're not permitted to be here." Drew calmly shut the van door. "I'm just here to finish the job, ma'am." "I filed a complaint with the HOA board," she said, "and I've spoken with law enforcement." I walked out with a mug of coffee in hand. "That's funny, because no one's contacted me." Karen's eyes lit up with that smug kind of confidence that makes your stomach turn. "This is a private community. We don't tolerate unvetted strangers, and now you're trespassing." "On private property I was invited onto," Drew said, not flinching. That's when she lost it. She picked up her garden hose and sprayed him. Full stream, right in the chest. "Get off this property before I call the police," she shrieked. Drew stepped back, drenched but composed. "You just assaulted me." She didn't stop. She marched toward his van, yanked the handle, and opened the passenger door. "I'm checking for stolen items. We've had thefts. Don't pretend like you're innocent." I ran up to her. "Karen, that's his private vehicle. You're way out of line." She ignored me and started rifling through his tool bag. That's when Drew pulled out his phone and began recording. Karen spun around and tried to slap it from his hand. "You can't film me. That's illegal." "It's not," Drew said flatly. "And you just committed 3 more crimes." Karen froze. Only now realizing what she'd done, she stood dripping, panting, and red-faced. I said, "Get off my property before I call the police myself." "You'll regret this," she screamed, backing away. "You think I'm scared of some handyman?" Drew looked at me and said something I'll never forget. "She's about to find out who I am." He wasn't angry. He wasn't even surprised. Because he wasn't just a plumber. And she had just crossed the wrong line. Drew didn't come back alone the next morning. He pulled up behind a Black County SUV. I was already outside, halfway expecting Karen to ambush him again. She didn't disappoint. The moment she saw that work van roll in, she came power walking down her driveway like a storm front, hair tied tight, clipboard in hand, ready for war. But when she saw the sheriff's vehicle, she paused, just for a second. Then the door opened, and out stepped a tall man in full uniform. Calm, collected. The badge on his chest said, "Shot Sheriff Patterson." Karen blinked. There's no need for a sheriff. This is a private matter between residents. Sheriff Patterson looked directly at her. Actually, it's not. You're under investigation for assault, harassment, unlawful entry of a vehicle, and filing a false report. Karen laughed. Actually laughed. What false report? I told the truth. That man was on my property uninvited. He attacked me. Sheriff Patterson raised a brow. You mean my son? The licensed contractor who recorded you opening his vehicle and spraying him with a hose? Karen's face drained of color. That's right, he added. Drew's my son. I've seen the footage. So has the district attorney. Karen's lips moved, but nothing came out. She tried to backpedal. I didn't know he was your son. If I had known, the sheriff's voice dropped. You shouldn't need to know someone's last name to treat them like a human being. He pulled a folded document from his pocket. This is a criminal summons. You're being charged with assault, vehicle tampering, and harassment. If you resist, it becomes arrestable. I'm the HOA president, she blurted. You can't do this to me. You're not above the law, he said. You abused your position. You committed a crime, and you did it on camera. Drew stayed silent, standing behind his father like a wall. Calm, just like always. Karen screamed. This is discrimination. I was protecting the neighborhood. No, the sheriff said, stepping forward. You were harassing a licensed worker because you thought no one would stop you. He turned to Drew. You want to push this further? Drew nodded. Yes, sir. She needs to face all of it. Karen turned to me, desperate now. You can stop this. Tell him I didn't mean it. But it wasn't my call. She made her bed, and now she was going to jail. They cuffed her right there in the street. Neighbors stepped out onto porches, phones in hand, watching the self-declared queen of the HOA scream bloody murder as the sheriff's deputy walked her to the cruiser. Her clipboard hit the pavement. She kicked it, cried, swore the charges were lies. Didn't matter. She'd crossed too many lines, and this time she messed with the wrong man's son. Sheriff Patterson handled it by the book. Karen was read her rights, placed in the back seat, and driven off while still yelling about lawyer friends and retaliation. But none of those friends showed up. The video Drew recorded, spraying him with a hose, entering his van without permission, swinging at his phone, was airtight. She was charged with misdemeanor assault, unlawful entry of a vehicle, and criminal harassment. On top of that, the false report she filed with the HOA claiming Drew was a threat to residents turned into a civil suit. And because Drew pressed charges personally, with full support from his father, the sheriff, nothing got buried. It was all public. The HOA board met within 72 hours. Turned out Karen had a long history of complaints, racial profiling, abusing bylaws, fake citations, and threatening fines she had no authority to issue. 3 contractors came forward during the meeting. One said she'd called immigration on his crew. Another had video of her scratching his work truck and blaming it on existing damage. The board voted unanimously to permanently remove Karen as president and ban her from contacting residents about any enforcement issues. They also issued an official apology to Drew. Karen posted bail, but the judge issued a restraining order preventing her from coming within 50 feet of Drew, or his van. When Drew came back one last time to finish the job, neighbors waved. A few walked over and thanked him. Someone even brought him coffee. As for Karen, her house went up for sale 2 weeks later. No goodbye letters, no bake sale, just a quiet listing and a moving truck that came at night. Drew and I shook hands before he left. Appreciate your patience, I said. He just smiled. Happens more than you'd think, just never this loud. And with that, he drove off. Karen hasn't been seen since, but the dent she left in her own reputation, that's permanent. Thanks for watching, folks. If you've ever dealt with an out-of-control HOA or just love seeing justice served, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments, what country or state are you watching from? I read every single one. Don't forget to subscribe for more true stories just like this. Until next time, stay safe, stand your ground, and don't let a Karen walk all over you.